Hi, good evening, everyone. Uh, just wait for 2 minutes and then join. Wait for others to join and then we'll start. Okay, we have people joining now and we will start. Okay, hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar session for today. And basically, we're going to talk about how and why how CISSP helps. Right. So basically, we are here today to very common agenda, that is how to pass the CISSP exam. Right. I take one of these sessions, once every month, basically to make new members realize that this is a very good certification, though it's a very difficult one, and how to pass the certification. Right. That's one of the major concerns which we always have. And it's supposed to be a very difficult one. It's supposed to be something which is very unique. The exam has an AI engine, uh, so we will we will do a little bit of dissection as to how to pass the certification. Right. I have some new questions for this time, and we can just try to understand how understanding the basics behind these questions will help you develop the CISSP mindset. So a little about me. I'm Colonel Shubhajit Naha, retired from Indian Army, and it's been almost 2 years now. I am leading my efforts in the information security industry with a managed services vertical and a training vertical called Protect Academy, wherein we carry out leading industry certifications and training in all the three segments, directly to B2C, in the B2B, and the B2G segment. Right. I've got over 25 years of experience, out of which almost 7 years of teaching experience, and I have been taking trainings for almost 3 years now, uh, with almost 100% pass rate in CISSP. Most of the students who have trained with me and then appeared for the exam have passed. Right. So, what is the strategy behind? That is something which I'll be discussing today. Right. So there's a myth that CISSP's been made to make you fail, but actually that's not the case. The case is that CISSP is actually designed to make you pass. It gives you enough opportunities when you are giving this exam. If you are well prepared, this exam is actually designed to make you pass. So that's the fundamental behind passing the CISSP exam. Right. But what happens is CISSP tests your, information security concepts, which are very, very fundamental. So if you are having a fundamental knowledge of all the security concepts, this is where it is going to, test your fundamentals. The exams, the questions are, completely something which tests your fundamentals to the basics. Right. So, therefore, the only way you can pass this exam is by learning the concepts. No matter what how many questions you do or from where you are taking the training, unless you're conceptually very, very clear about this exam, it's very difficult to pass. Right. And next thing is, the exam is a very, very wide, you know it covers a very wide area. So you have to be very clear that what is the concept, which are the concepts which you are going to take a deep dive on, or the concepts which you are going to do a shallow learning. Now, since there is so much of content, trying to do this exam on your own becomes a little bit of a difficult task, and that's why probably you need a mentor. Right. So one of the major aspects of, you know uh, giving a CISSP exam is to develop the mindset. Now, how to develop that mindset? So I've got a small question in front of you, and just review this question and uh, answer as to what could be the correct answer. Okay, one of the correct answers. So it's a live practical situation which happened few days back in Pune. Okay, and why this question I will explain to you later. So you own a Ferrari and your 16-year-old kid wants to enjoy his 12th board results, okay, with his friend. You send the driver with your kid, okay. The kid drives the car and meets with an accident and two people lose their lives. You get arrested. Why? Okay. That's one of the simple questions that which is actually a true live example which happened in the state of Pune. So can you guys can understand what is the reason why are you getting arrested since your son uh, you know met with an accident? You the son drive you did a right thing by sending your driver with the kid, but you get arrested, and there is some legality involved in here. So can any one of you or all of you can just type it out as to why the father gets arrested for the actions of his son? Okay. One thing people can say, "Ki because it is legally not right," but why it is legally not correct? Okay. So the option A is you're a bad father. That's very subjective. B is lack of due diligence on your end. Okay. So that means the father somewhere wasn't didn't take a right decision. Okay. Uh, Third would be lack of due diligence by the driver. You know, was driver at fault? Why did the driver let the kid drive the car? Okay. Fourth is lack of due care by your son. Of course, due care by your son was definitely one of the reasons, but then why should you get arrested? Your son should get arrested, which was the case. Your son was arrested. Right. So lack of due diligence by the driver. What does that mean? Lack of due diligence by the driver is also somewhere down the line might be correct, but it was not the driver's responsibility to ensure. Driver's responsibility was to not let your kid drive, but then he was someone who was not responsible for the safety of your son, safety of your son, and the safety of the people who were on that road. That diligence, that experience was held with the father, and the decision to give the car keys to his young son, who may not know driving perfectly, he was drunk after his 12th board exams. That shows, that may not show that he's a bad father, but what it shows is that he did not take diligent actions, right? So, Harpreet, you are right. Someone else also answered. So, somewhere down the line, the judgment made by the father was not correct. Now, how is it relevant to the CISSP mindset? Okay, I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example when there's a company. Let's take ABCXYZ, some company, okay, and they decide that they will not implement uh, a firewall on their network because it's very expensive. Okay, and so there is a and for them it is very important that they have a file. Okay, but the senior management says, oh, no, 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 this firewall cost you very expensive. It is 20 lakhs for this enterprise firewall. Why do we need it? We already have antivirus on our laptops or PC. So we take a decision that we are not going to have a firewall on our network. Now, such a decision by someone who's responsible can have very catastrophic, you know, uh, results to the business. Okay, as proven by this situation, which is live in front of you. So this is where due diligence comes in. Once you are heading an organization, once you are heading a family, you're head of the family, you are head of an organization. Taking diligent actions becomes your responsibility, and that's one of the first critical mindsets which you need to have once you want to attempt the CISSP exam, right? So this is was a small, introduction to what how to develop the mindset, how to have that broader vision once you are planning to attempt the CISSP exam. So what is CISSP, right? The CISSP is a certification called Certified Information System Security Professional. It's a pretty old certification. It's almost a 3 decade old certification, and today it's one of the most industry leading certification uh, for information security and cybersecurity professionals. Now, it's not a very technical or a hands-on certification. It's a certification which tests your management or managerial or leadership qualities. To be frank, it doesn't test for how to program a firewall or which port to close down or what are the indicators of compromise and how to do threat hunting. No, it is meant for all those cybersecurity and information security hands-on professionals who slightly mature after 5 to 6 years of experience, and now you need to have, or now you need to take a leadership role, and now you need to understand the complete dynamics of the information and cybersecurity process. And that is where CISSP is the starting point or the base certification if you want to build your career in slightly senior and management level roles. But what happened over a period of time is the certification became so prominent and so wanted that this has become a de facto standard in the industry to for anyone who's seeking slightly senior roles and senior management level roles, mainly due to two reasons. Firstly is clearing this exam is difficult. Secondly is once you clear this exam, I know that you have gone through the complete you know churn of preparing for this exam, and you have that you know basic baseline of complete understanding of the information security risks and how to manage them effectively in your organization. Now, many people ask that doing the certification will give me a very good break. May not be. Generally, yes, but that's not the main reason why you're doing CISSP. The reason you're doing CISSP is because you're trying to prove within the entire community that you possess that knowledge level. And of course, this exam requires 5 years of experience. So you possess that, minimum baseline to carry your organization forward in the information security and cybersecurity journey of your organization. Great. Now, why the basic slide points? It is a gold standard. Of course, it is a gold standard. Everybody values this certification. Uh, it definitely covers a lot of spectrum. It has a wide spectrum, starting from how to manage information security, what are the data security and data security requirements, and how to handle it. What are the privacy requirements? How systems are architected. So you get opening into understanding what are the different kind of systems once you deal with information and cybersecurity. You deal with communication and network security because that becomes a slightly technical domain for people who have not actually worked on networks, who have not worked hands-on routers and firewalls. But it's not a tech deep. It's a very shallow touch upon basic understanding of, I will say, if not even undergrad, school level communication and network security aspects. Probably these things are today taught at school level. Okay. So it packs a lot of punch in terms of knowledge levels. It packs a lot of knowledge avenues inside one certification. That's the main agenda of getting you exposed to uh, a very wide spectrum of information security risks and what you can attach to your information security knowledge. Okay, and that's why CISSP. Right. The exam is it's got 8 domains, and you are tested against all the 8 domains. It's a 3-hour exam now, and you have 150 multiple choice questions. Okay, the exam is very innovative. Okay, anyone you can read, a lot of feedbacks in our community, in our group. People say I gave the exam, but at no point in time I was very sure that I'll pass the exam because it tests your deep subconscious about concepts. And whether you're answering it right or wrong will completely depend on the kind of preparation you've done and kind of thought process you have towards building the mindset for the CISSP exam. Now, the exam is conducted at Pearson View Testing Center, so you have to go physically. You have to find a slot. Getting a slot at times becomes difficult, so it's very good that you should book the exam well in advance if you want to test for this exam. This exam is expensive, so you have to do a full preparation. You cannot go half baked, or you cannot say that okay, I've read questions, few questions. This exam is a beast, and you have to prepare for it. The amount of time required depends upon what kind of experience you have. So you've got enough experience, probably the preparation time is less. If you are low on the experience side, you've not had exposure to all the multiple domains, probably will require a little bit of more preparation. Now, if you want to pass this exam in 100 days, you have to devise a strategy for yourself. Without a strategy, without the effort, this exam cannot be passed, right? If you want a very, very clear target of passing this exam in 100 days, this is what you need to do. Okay. So when you do your CISSP preparation, follow this time schedule. It's a 90-day time schedule, 90 to 100 days time schedule. You can follow the schedule. First 4 days domain 1, next 2 days domain 2, then domain 3 is going to be a long affair. It's going to be a 6-day affair. Okay, then you take a rest. Then domain 4, again rest. Domain 5, roughly 3 days is what you require for domain 5, and domain 6 you require 3 days, and then take a rest. So first month is gone. Okay. Second month, first week, domain 7, again 3 days, domain 8, 3 days, and within 5 days, you can have first revision over. So, this is very, very important. You will have to do this thorough study for the first revision. Now, passing CISSP requires at least 3 revisions, in my understanding, for people who are not very experienced. There are people who are very experienced, they probably can do it in 1 or 2 passes. But if you have, I'll say, 5 to 7 or 10 years of experience, I recommend at least 3 passes. Okay, that means 3 revision cycles. And this is what I've given, 3 revision cycles. Now, the first revision cycle is a preliminary cycle wherein you are reading and making your notes and trying to find areas which you don't know. Okay, so you're marking those areas and doing your own research. Okay, it's doable. In first 5 weeks you can finish this particular part. How, where, from, which all resources, I'll definitely tell you. Then comes your next preparation cycle, that is your second revision. Now, second revision is where you take 3 days. Okay, shorter time frame. First 3 days you do domain 1 and then start doing question and answers. Now, once you do these question answers, what come out of these question answers are your strength areas and weak areas. Please note down, once you do these question answers, from where, again, I'll tell you, there are standard books available from which you will do these question answers. And from here, you will come to know what are your strength areas, which are the concepts you understand. And the answers which you do wrong will be your weak areas. Basically, you're trying to identify your weak areas. Okay. And similarly, you do domain 2, do question answers, take a rest. Domain 3, 3 days, question answers, take a rest. Do domain 4, okay, 3 days. Rest every 6 days. Why rest? Because your mind needs rest. Without a rest, you cannot move forward. So then do domain 4, okay. So by third week, you have finished domain 4. Next 2 days, you do domain 5, question answers, domain 6, and then take a rest. So you see, by second month, you have almost finished your domain. You've done almost 2 revisions. So by roughly by another end of your or start of your third month journey, you would have finished 2 revisions. If you see on the second row, you see that you have done 2 revisions, right? So this is what I'm trying to say, that here, this is where you finish your 2 revisions, and then you again start your 2-day revisions, which is going to be your third revision. That is domain 1, domain 2, rest, domain 3, domain 4, domain 5, domain 6, domain 7, and domain 8. So now you take a rest. You have generally reached the 90-day period. Now your aim should be to only do question answers. You do your question answers for next 8 to 10 days, okay? And then you go and give the exam. So this is in general the timeline which you can follow. right? So now if you want to follow this timeline, the starting journey is actually, you know, on day one, you book the exam after 100 days. Okay. If you book the exam after 100 days, your target is very well set. Okay. So this will be my recommendation. If you really want to pass this exam, just book the exam. So if you book the exam, the target is very, very clear. Target is very clear what you need to do in the exam. So how to prepare? Okay, how to prepare is I recommend Cybex ninth or 10th edition. 10th edition is out. Okay, ninth edition is still good to go other than those topics, right? You can use Cybex ninth edition as your main book. Many of your people find ninth edition very, very boring. It is. And that's where I come in. People who do training with me, I make Cybex very, very easy. And that's the reason why people, are passing the exam with me by reading Cybex. Cybex as the main book. Okay. So once you've done the Cybex, then you attempt the Cybex third edition. You attempt the Cybex questions, that is at the back end of the book. Okay, you clear your weak areas, you revise thrice, and then you also attempt Cybex third edition, which is the Cybex official practice test book. Okay, that is a recommended book. I don't think that anyone who has passed this exam has passed it without doing this particular book. Okay, book the exam if you can debate the concepts. The day you can debate the concepts, the day you can say, okay, in this particular situation, this is the concept which will be live, you are good to go. Okay, do not think that you are scoring 60% on 100% on practice test is what is going to make you pass. No, that is not an indicator. The indicator is when you're able to justify your right and your wrong answers. Once you're able to justify and say, okay, this is why I went right or this is why I went wrong, you are more or less ready for the exams. Okay. It's good that you do 3 to 4 thousand questions and debate your understanding on these 3 to 4 thousand questions, which should be from official, question series. Okay, and then find yourself a preparation buddy. It's very good to have someone to share the load, and in our community there are a lot of people who are preparing for the exam, so you can find someone who you find suitable to prepare with. Right. So the resources which I say that are a must and which you should follow. Okay, Cybex latest edition, it's a must. Cybex practice test is a must. Learns app is an application which you can download over the internet on your phone, and it's the official ISC2 application. You can use that also. Boson is a good exam testing platform which you can buy 10 to 15 days before the exam and can attempt it. Andrew Ramdayal, 50 questions. I won't say they're very great questions, but yes, he gives a good explanation. And I also have videos on the YouTube which do similar explanations. So you can follow my YouTube channel also, and I've given explanations on questions. Mike Chappell's LinkedIn course is a good refresher, maybe 10 days before the exam. Okay, you want to do a revision, one quick revision, you don't want to read the book, Mike Chappell's LinkedIn course is a must. Okay. A lot of people also have benefited from Pete Zerger's exam cram, but Indian people find it difficult to understand the, I'll say the language issues, American accent and other issues. But yes, these both the you know both these resources are good for quick revisions towards the end of your preparation journey. Okay. So this is what I will say is how you should prepare for the exam. Domain one is all about managing governance and risk in your organization as far as information security is concerned. Now, this domain helps you in building your career towards governance, risk management, and compliance. Okay, let me be very frank. This domain helps you in becoming a GRC professional. Okay, so if that is the thing, let's do one question. Okay, so let's have one question from domain one. It's thrown on your slide, and then I will give a debating how to debate your answers. Okay, you can answer it on our chat so that we can have some interaction. So the question is, which of the following types of access control seeks to discover. Now, this is the key point in this, exam. Always remember that there are few keywords in questions, and those keywords is what you should always aim for. Now, in this particular exam, in this particular question, the keyword is seeks to discover. You're trying to discover a control which is trying to discover evidence of unwanted, unauthorized, or illegal behavior or illicit behavior or activity. So, which controls are there which help you in discovering? Okay, you want to discover, right? So, you'll always try this is the controls which are detective in nature. Okay, now it's very clear, right? So, the keyword is seeks to discover. So, preventive. So, you should always rule out even the other answers, because in exam you might have choose both correct answers, all the correct answers which apply. So you'll have to rule out the answers. Okay. Now, preventive controls are controls which prevent something bad from happening. Okay. So here you're not trying. Here you're trying to discover. Deterrent controls. What do deterrent controls do? Deterrent controls deter. Okay. I put a warning sign. Please do not enter this area, otherwise I'll shoot. Okay. Trespass. Do not trespass. Deterrent controls try to stop you from doing something unwanted, create a fear. I put a, dummy camera outside my home. The thief comes and they feel, okay, there's a camera. I would not like to go in this house. Let me go to the next house. So at times, in information or cybersecurity, you try to put deterrent controls. Okay, you are some very big government entity and you put a warning sign. If you try to hack my website, I'll get you. Okay, or if you try to hack me, I will take you legally. Right. Jack, I've read your question. We will come back to. I'll definitely come back to all your questions. I will have a question answer session in the end, right, Jack? So deterrent control, is meant for deterring people. Detection. What are detection controls? Detection controls, controls also have overlapping, use. If I put a camera might act as a deterrent in one of the situations. Whereas once somebody feels that, I will not get deterred just because you put a camera, I will enter your premises. And that is the time that camera also works as a detective controls. Why? Because it is going to detect the movement inside your perimeter. Now, look at intrusion detection systems or firewalls. Okay, you put an intrusion detection system, you put a firewall, uh, a hacker might come and see that there is a control. Now they might get deterred just because there's a control, so you have to put a lot of effort. So let's go back. Okay, so let's go back. That will be deterrence. But the moment it sees a control and now tries to bypass it, and that control is able to detect it, it will become a detective control. So in this particular example, in this particular question, the keyword is seeks to discover. And the only control which can seek to discover are detective controls, right? So right answer would be detective control. So still you will have to rule out other options. In this part, last one is corrective. Can a corrective control help you in discover? Corrective controls are meant for if something goes wrong with the present control, the corrective control can correct the first controls, shortcomings. So that's the main aim. So generally, if you want to discover something, you have to put detective controls, which can help you in detection, right? Then comes the second domain. Second domain, as I told you, first domain helps you in uh, becoming a GRC professional. Second domain is about how to protect your data assets. Okay. Now, this is where you become a, yeah, it should be a detective control. You're right. But detection is a part of detective. A detective always tries to find some kind of evidence, right? So, detective controls are for detection. Okay, find out controls. Okay, so once you start preparing for CISSP, we will say detective controls are controls which help you in detection. Right. The domain two is where you are trying to protect the data. Okay, so if you are a data loss prevention professional, if you are a data security professional, if you are a privacy professional, Okay, this is where your career starts shaping for data security aspects. What are the data regulations? What are the regulations which will help you in becoming a PII, security professional or data security professional? Data loss prevention comes in this place. Okay, so everything related to data, how to govern data loss, how to govern data security, how to implement controls which can help you, how to associate ownership of data. This particular domain helps you in understanding that, and this forms as a basis for data security professionals. Okay, let's see a second question. So the second question says a data custodian is responsible for securing resources after dash has assigned the resource a security label. Whether it's a senior management, is it the data owner, is it an auditor, is it a security staff? Okay. So whenever you're debating, when I said you're able to debate, the debating means whatever answer you're choosing, you should be able to tell why. Okay. So that's the reason. So you'll get to know a lot of new concepts, right? And okay. So whenever you're answering, okay, you should always answer yourself also. Yeah. Fedora on YouTube channel, you've answered correctly. Rahul, you've answered correctly. Rohit, you've answered correctly. Harpreet, you've answered correctly. Okay. Now, why data owner? Who is a data owner? Right. So now, again, is senior management responsible for labeling data? No. Somebody who owns the data in the organization. Okay, if I'm the CEO of the organization, okay, and I'm in on my directions, the company is collecting, PII information from users, then I am the data owner. If you've seen in congressional hearings, Sundar Pichai is standing. GDPR committee, Sundar Pichai is standing. Why? The CEO is generally the data owner. Okay, and it's his responsibility. Now, so what happens? Is senior management responsible? No. A data owner is someone who tells that, this is the importance of the data. Please save it. Please save this data accordingly. And generally, that is done by the data owner. Now, that data owner may or may not be a CEO. Okay, that is decided by the organization as to who is going to be the data owner. Right? Senior management does not decide. Senior management will assign a data owner. Right? An auditor is not responsible for labeling data. An auditor is responsible for ensuring or finding evidences that organization is following its policies and procedures, and also if there are any regulatory requirement that are being followed. So auditor's task is to find evidence and see that the processes which the organization has laid down are being followed. Okay. Security staff is supposed to implement uh, you know security staff is supposed to ensure that things are running. Okay? The clear cut answer is this particular situation is data owner, because somebody who owns the data is responsible for telling how important this data is, and that's why they label the data, right? And once you've labeled the data, the people who are handling this data are generally the data custodians who are going to safeguard that asset as per the requirement of the label which has been put on the data. Right. Then domain 3 is all about security architecture and engineering. Now this is where you architect your solutions for your systems. Okay, this is where cryptography is handled. This is a slightly technical domain, and those who have not had good amount of exposure here will definitely find it to be difficult, but it is not very technical deep dive, and this particular domain uh, probably is at a baseline level, and you can actually do it if you have basic understanding. And this domain is not very difficult. You understand basic concepts of cryptography, their applications, day-to-day applications, and third is what are the various kind of systems that are in use today where security will be a consideration. Okay, so that is one of the main considerations of domain 3. This also gives the career uh, field of security architects. This field gives rise to the career vertical of security architects, solution engineers, okay, security engineers. This is the domain from where your architecting solutions, architecting engineering concepts come in. And this is more core vertical, and this becomes as a baseline. From here, you can start your security architecture journey or security architect journey. Right. So a very simple question here. Okay. There is computers are based on binary mathematics. All computer functions are derived from the basic set of Boolean operations. What is the value of the logical operation shown here? Now here, what the operation is shown is x has a value, y has a value. What is the value of x? There's this plus sign with a circle outside it. X something y. This something sign in Boolean maths is called XOR. Okay, XOR. So why XOR? XOR means that whenever x and y are different values, the output will be one. Okay, that is the logic. And if you can find the answer here, I've given you the logic. You can find out which is the answer. Okay. So if x is 0, y is 0, output will be 0. Why? Because 0 and 0 are same. Okay. So output will be 0. So which is the 0 in this? So D is ruled out. D is straight away ruled out. Answer will be from A, B, and C. Next is 1, 0. 1, 0 should be, now both the inputs are different. So output will be 1. Okay. So A is right and A and C still in consideration. B is out. And third is 1 and 1 is 0. So 1 and 1 is 0, but C is 1. So that means C is also out. Answer comes out to be straight away. I didn't have to go on the future placeholders. I just found the answer from the the first three uh, bit places and doing an XOR. Okay, so A is the answer. So these are very basic maths, even eight level maths which are done, right? Okay, so this is domain 3 for you. I remember such questions might drop into your CISSP exam, right? Though I am under NDA, I cannot tell them. But yeah, such questions do come in. Some basic questions do come in. So now I will increase the difficulty of the questions. You will see. Okay, domain 4 is about the communication and network security. This is where network security professionals, okay, start building their, professional journey from. This particular domain covers baseline aspects of how to secure, what are the communication and network mediums, and how they are secured. Okay, so this is where you get to understand TCP/IP model, their how they are applied, and what all basic things which are required to secure your networks. Okay, so one question from here, right, and then we will move ahead. Okay, so the question says TCP operates at transport layer and is connection oriented protocol. It uses a special process to establish a session each time a communication takes place. What is the last phase of TCP three-way handshake sequence? So a TCP, when you are trying to establish connection, if you're trying to uh, go to a website and surf a website, the first thing that happens is your system sends a TCP synchronize or start packet, which is called a SYN packet. The other end, receives the packet and sends you a SYNAC packet, SYN plus ACK packet. Okay. And in response, you say, okay, I've received your SYNAC. I send you a packet saying that, okay, now we can establish the communication. That is called a three-way handshake. Okay, those of you who can answer this question, we can go ahead. Okay, right. So SYN packet is sent at the first part. Finished packet is sent generally when you want to finish the communication. SYNAC packet is sent by the server. So generally, it is not generally the last packet of a TCP three-way handshake is a ACK packet? So the answer is B. Right. Okay. So this is where slightly technical domain. Okay. You start getting a very limited technical in this particular part. Domain 5 is about identity and access management. And now this is where the professionals of identity and access management comes in. IAM professionals can lead a career from the IAM space, right? Now this is where we discuss the technologies and the policies regarding how to manage identities and how to manage access control. Okay. So one question, and then we will. Oh, this question I think is again the same. So I will probably change the question later on. Domain 6 is about how you test your security. Okay, how you test your security, how you carry out audit, and this domain gives rise to security auditor professionals. Right? You can, if you're an auditor, this is where your security assessment testing fundamentals get tested. Right? So domain 6 is about how to test your security, how to audit your security. Right? So I got a small question, and after this, we are almost ending the today's session, and then we will go ahead. So this question says a security auditor is seeking evidence of how sensitive documents made their way out of the organization onto a public document distribution site. Okay. It is suspected that an insider exfiltrated the data over a network connection to an external server. But this is only a guess. Which of the following would be useful in determining whether this suspicion is accurate? So there's a auditor who wants to see that uh, he feels that something has gone out, okay, and he feels that it is done over a network connection, right? So if it is done over a network connection, there has to be some kind of logs, okay, and he wants to find that data. How will he find that data out? So the only way he can find that data out is, okay, once he checks the logs. If he checks the logs, he will find out that information. Now NAC, what is NAC? NAC is network access control. So it is like a firewall. Okay, so it will just allow or deny. So if he looks at NAC, he will not find anything. If you look at the DLP alerts, okay, DLP alerts is data loss prevention. So data loss prevention alert might be there, but again, if you look at that, the exfiltration has already happened, so there will be no alerts. Alert would have come in the beginning. So the only way he will be able to find out is once he collects the system logs and he does the log analysis. So the answers are C and D. So he has to collect the logs and he has to go through those logs. Okay, and then only he'll be able to find that out. Now, some of you said DLP alerts and log analysis. Yes, right. But DLP alerts will probably, happen during the event, right? And there will be logs for those alerts. So yeah, you are right, Rahul. You are also right, actually. So DLP alerts and log analysis will also be a right. So syslogs, generally syslogs may not have uh, those alerts, right? So DLP alert logs will only have those alerts. So right, you are right also. So DLP alerts plus log analysis tools, they both will help you in carrying out that analysis, right? So domain 7 is about security operations. Security operations is where you now run the show. So generally it's not about SOC, it's about how to maintain the security status inside an organization, and that's where security operations domain helps. And there's a lot of ground to cover in security operations, wherein you do how to carry out investigation, what kind of logging and monitoring is done, configuration management, change management. Okay, so this is where we come to know that what needs to be done as far as uh, the complete operations is concerned, right? So we've got one question, and then we are about to end our journey for the day. Right. The question is, a recently acquired piece of equipment is not working properly. Your organization does not have trained repair technician on staff. So you have to bring in an outside expert. what type of account should be issued to a trusted third party repair tech. So it's a trusted third party. What kind of account are you going to give a trusted third party? Are you going to give a guest account? Are you going to give a privileged account? Are you going to give a service account? Or are you going to give a user account? Right? Generally, a guest account is given to someone who is very infrequent, somebody who's a guest who comes and goes one time. Okay. Privileged accounts are accounts which are given to people who administer the complete organization. So those are privileged accounts. Service accounts are given to generally people who come for repairs, and they are generally trusted. Trusted means you have a SLA running with them, right? And fourthly, D are user accounts, which are non-privileged accounts to do their day-to-day tasks. Service accounts have slightly higher privileges at times, but they are given for a short duration of time and removed. So answer is C, service accounts. Right. And finally is the software development security, where we deal with uh, software security, application security. This gives rise to software application security vertical, okay, of information and cybersecurity. This is where we see how code are written, how code can be secured, okay. uh, what is the security life cycle of software development? Now, these are important concepts because the CrowdStrike downing of the Microsoft endpoints was one of the issues which will be tackled here. That if you're not pushing the changes in your software properly, this is what is going to happen. CrowdStrike brought losses worth billions of dollars for companies, right? So this is the aspect which gets covered in software development security, right? So you got one question, and then we have reached the end of our today's session, and then we will go further. Right. The question is, DevOps manager John is concerned with the CEO's plan to minimize his department and outsource code development to a foreign programming group. Right. John has a meeting scheduled with the board of directors to encourage them to retain code development in-house due to several concerns. Which of the following should John include in his presentation? So John is worried that if the code is developed by outside party, there will be certain issues. And what are those issues? Okay. So the first is code from third parties will need to be manually reviewed for function and security. Okay, that's possible answers. If somebody else is developing code for me, I would like to manually review it, okay, for function and security. So A is right. Choose all that apply, it says. B says if the third party goes out of business, existing code may need to be abandoned. Okay, this seems like a right answer. So if third party is building the code and they go bankrupt, okay, or they stop making, we probably have to let that code go, because that code is no more applicable. Third party code is development is always more expensive. Now that may or may not be true. At times third party code may be less expensive also, because in your case you will have to hire a lot of resources, and then you know it becomes difficult. So you might have to, you know at times outsourcing code becomes lesser expensive. So C is out. And finally, is a software escrow agreement should be established. Okay, so if you have a third party, uh, would you like to have the software escrow if you have a third party? So that means if a third party is making a software and they are not able to maintain that software, would you like to have an escrow? Maybe, right? If a third party is developing that software, I would love to have an escrow, so that in case they are not able to make that software in future, software escrow is from where I can download the software for my use. So in my assessment, A, B, and D are the right answers for this particular question. C is the only answer which is not applicable. Okay, so this was just a small way of me telling you how to prepare for the exam and what kind of questions. These are not the questions you will face. Exam is a totally completely a different beast. These questions help you in forming the mindset. Like few of you said, I will choose two, but there was a knowledge gap because of you didn't know what's a software escrow. So no harm in having a software escrow and having software at a third party, right? So what happens once you pass the exam? You have to go through an endorsement process, which is not very complicated, right? And you to submit some 5 years of proof. And third is, customer. You are the customer, Fedora. You yourself are the customer. So escrow is if you are outsourcing the code development to a third party, and you know third party is now, tomorrow you need that software somewhere with the escrow. Why you need it with an ex escrow? Because he's the supplier for you now. He is now the supplier for you. So now if that software is not able to be maintained, or you need a software, say the guy who's building the software for you is not available for a service, would you like to have a escrow agreement with a third party who can provide you with the software at a later point in time? Okay, so these are the customer here. You are the customer because you have outsourced. Okay, right. So post exam you might have to submit some proof, okay, that you have experience in 2 domains of the 8 domains. Okay, I do assist in endorsement process. A lot of people who come to me for endorsement, that's not a problem. Yeah, yeah, Rohit. Please ask. Just let me finish this. I have a question answer session, and then I will definitely seek your inputs. Not a problem. So you have to maintain CP for 120 hours, which is spread over 3 years, which is also not a very difficult process. And what after CISSP, you can build your career in different roles, different verticals, 8 domains available to you. If you have already worked in these domains, you can look for senior, positions, and definitely CISSP helps for that. Right now, I'm in the question session. You can please ask your question, Rohit. Let's go with you. You have some question to ask. Uh, I will say 3 to 4 hours. On this timeline, you're studying somewhere around 2 to 4 hours daily, and weekends 6 to 8 hours. Initially, you will be slower, and that's why we gave more time on the initial day time frame. Later, you will, increase. So daily with our work schedules and family schedules, 2 to 4 hours recommended, 2 hours at least, and weekends 6 to 8 hours. That's question from, uh, I guess, Jack Johnson on YouTube. Rohit, you can go ahead with the question. Anyone else with any other question? Right. So if there are no more questions, then okay. So we, okay, we are. I'm so basically a Protect Academy. Major. We provide training for major certification courses. We also have a very good community where we discuss a lot of things. A lot of career things are also discussed. Jobs are also referred to, right? But I'm confused. Okay, Rohit, your question came a little late. I am a bit confused in CISM and CPP. I've recently done CPP, and my entire experience is in physical security domain, can I go directly for CISSP since I'm not from a technical background? Rohit, I will not say why not. We have a lot of people who have cleared CISSP, uh, being not from technical background. Uh, but yes, if you have cleared CISM, you've not cleared CISM right now, right? Then I will recommend, you can start your journey from CISM or CompTIA Security Plus. If you would like to go into general security management, information security management, I'll recommend CISM, because pushing you to jump into CISSP would be pushing you into fire. But there is no rule which says you cannot pass. Okay, we have had people with your experience who worked in the physical domain have cleared CISSP with adequate, preparation. So I will not say why you cannot, do CISSP, because CISM is also going to take you, if not same, almost equal amount of effort, right? Yeah, slightly lesser effort, but yeah, CISSP is definitely a much more difficult exam than CISM. That I can definitely tell you. So if you are from physical background, you have not been into technology related, but having worked in, I can see you are worked with Microsoft. So I take it that you're generally aware with a lot of concepts. If you're working in Microsoft, you will be generally dealing with a lot of software systems, working with software systems, generally aware of. I know you've told me physical security domain, but I don't see why you cannot, but at the same time, I would not like to push you. Get CISM and see how does it match your requirement. Because since you are from physical security domain, particularly, if you're planning for CISSP, that would be into consideration that you're trying to, migrate or transition from physical security to information security domain. So my recommendation would be, okay, start small, start with CISM, and then jump into CISSP. But you've seen the questions, you've seen how to prepare. CISSP is the golden standard, so the decision rests with you. But yes, if you are going to prepare for CISM and CISSP, if you ask, I will say yes. Why not CISSP? But since you are not completely for technical domain, CISM also makes sense for you. Okay. If you want some more information, you can speak to me directly. uh, you can just get in touch with Ghazal and send your number. We can have a discussion on that, right? Because this is not a one-to-one session, so I cannot exactly guide you, but you can definitely give us a call and we can resolve it over a call. Right. So we have our courses, every month. I do one batch every month, right, for CISSP, and there are many other courses, CCSP, CISM, uh, ISO 27001. So we have a lot of courses lined up. Okay. And if you want to get in touch with us, this is our contact details. Okay. Is it good to prepare for CISSP? I'm working in IAM related role. Yes, definitely. Kashi Vishwanathan. Yes, definitely. Right. If you are an IM, you have 5 years of experience, you should. I recommend CISSP to each and everyone in information and cybersecurity professions. I do it because because of two reasons. Firstly, because it gives you a very big vision, right? It opens up your horizon and vision. You come out of your daily routine silo. If you are in information and cybersecurity roles, please dive in. It'll do wonders for you. Okay, I can recommend you that, because you will understand the complete perspective why you are doing identity and access management. So it's going to open a perspective which is going to be very, very different. And right now I'm on a client side. I'm in Saudi right now. There's a team of around 10 to 12 people who are working on a project, and I'm the only CISSP out of them, and I can see the difference. And uh, they do not understand inter-domain relationships. So that is very, very important in the information and cybersecurity professions, right? So I can definitely recommend, if you are from cybersecurity and information security, you should jump in for CISSP. There's no doubt about it, right? These are our contact details. You can get in touch with us. We can help in guiding you all, right? Exam fee, exam pretty expensive exam to give, $649. $125 is the membership. It's an expensive exam to give, so you have to prepare. You have to prepare hard. uh, Few exam tips. Please understand concepts. No need to cram anything. It's a mile wide and an inch deep. You have to know everything, little of everything. Okay. The best approach is you have to eliminate answers. Once you are attempting the questions, you eliminate the answers, and out of the best answers you select those answers. Managerial approach, you have to solve a problem for a long period of time. You are not someone who gives a quick fix to the you know uh, quick fix to the problem. Okay, so you have to find a long-term solution. You have to do a root cause analysis. Yes, Fedora, yeah, they have a peace of mind offer which comes out once every month. The peace of mind offer is basically you pay $150 extra if you are not confident about passing in one go, which I find it a pessimistic uh, attitude. I must say that you are going with a preset mind that I'm not going to pass the exam, so I do not generally publicize it. Everybody generally is aware of that. The fact is, you pay $150 extra, and then you have one more attempt to give the exam within 45 days. I think 60 days or 45 days from the first time you have given the exam. Okay, but my main aim is this certification has helped me as a person who transitioned from military service to a corporate world. uh, I must tell you that I the moment I transitioned from a military background to 22 years in the military service, coming out, the world has changed around you. uh, I didn't have a problem in landing up my first job. I'll not say a job. I went into a consulting role. And then this is where I started my own work. It has helped me immensely. I did have a lot of experience to back it up. But, completing that package, CISSP is responsible for completing the package. And that's why I'm I tell everyone who is in information and cybersecurity to get hold of CISSP. It will definitely open up your horizon. It will definitely be a good addition to your overall career. Okay, that's the only reason. There's no other reason for me to tell that to CISSP. Not for anyone else, but for your own self, for your own career, for your own professional growth. Right. I'm done for the day. Thank you so much. It was an interactive session. A lot of people asked questions. You all, indulged in exam in the question answers. Thank you all from for those who are joining from LinkedIn, for those who are joining from YouTube. Okay, these are our contact details. You want to get in touch with us, you can join our community. There's no need to join our course. There's no compulsion. Our community is also pretty good. A lot of senior guys, a lot of people from good companies are there. People do help each other out, and that's one of it's a very collaborative uh, space. Cybersecurity, one man cannot know everything, so it's a very collaborative space. So we have to collaborate and survive, right? Everyone cannot have all the knowledge, so this is where we try to help each other. So thank you so much. I'm done for the day, and you can get in touch with us. Thanks for your time, and have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.